Okay, today I just wanted to do a brief video about, um, well, the proximate cause of this video is the deplatforming of David Wood, one of my, and I'm sure some of the people watching, one of their favorite apologists. He runs and he founded Acts 17 Apologetics, which is a ministry focused on Muslims, um, demonstrating to them the truth of Jesus and the falsity of Islam and Muhammad, their prophet, who, as David Wood has said, is the biggest false prophet in history. He makes L. Ron Hubbard look like Elijah. I mean, it's absurd. But I just want to talk about his deplatforming. I'm not sure how many of you saw it, but he made a video recently discussing the fact that he was given a strike by Twitter for promoting one of his own videos, which was a video explaining why violence and attacking and killing Muslims or people that support Muslims, like the Norwegian attack by Anders Behring Breivik, or the Christchurch attack, which attacked Muslims directly, why this is not only a counterproductive strategy, but a wrong strategy. He didn't use any footage from the Christchurch attack. I'm not even sure if he mentioned the attacker's name. I could be mistaken, but I don't think he did. And this video was basically explaining why this is the wrong strategy. Namely, it'll only result in increased censorship and increased suppression of voices that are critical of Islam. And of course, that's exactly what happened. And what will probably happen in the future. Now, the attackers' motivation might have been to accelerate that to heighten the divisions and increase civil conflict. And I do think that, in that sense, he might have been successful. But for people who actually want to utilize the freedoms we still have to speak out against falsehood and the destruction of Islam, it was a very bad thing for those people. But anyway, to get to the point, that's what this video was about, and that was given a strike by. I'm sorry, he was suspended by Twitter for that, and that was his last tweet. Technically, he still has an account. If he removed that tweet, he presumably he could still tweet, but he's not going to knuckle under to the social media censors and the Islamic apologists that work for that company. And he's also been in trouble with YouTube. They gave him a strike for a video which pointed out the inherent racism of Islam, the fact that it's an Arab centric, anti black religion at its very core. And this was one of the, in terms of his ministry, this was one of the more mild videos, in the sense of not intentionally being provocative. It was simply an explanation of why Islam and its founder were racist, which are ineluctable facts. And that was given the strike. So now he's kind of at a crossroads where he's ceased to upload YouTube videos. He might still be on other people's channels, as he mentioned in that video, but he's basically going to stop uploading YouTube videos because it's a waste of his time and resources to upload videos that might just be taken down at the whim of a YouTube censor. And the SPLC, the scandal-ridden, grifting, racist grifting operation, is one of the flaggers, one of the trusted flaggers on YouTube. So we have people who hate the truth, who hate Christ, who hate any sort of intellectual exchange. We have, and the Constitution, we have them in charge of the system that flags videos. So it is, in a sense, kind of pointless for him to keep doing this futile endeavor. It's kind of almost a Sisyphean task for him. One of the upsides is that it will provide him more time to write uh, his books, which I look forward to reading eventually. But it's also kind of disturbing for the rest of us. Anyone who has any sort of following, you're now you're now in the bullseye of platforms like YouTube and Instagram. The Apostate Prophet has had multiple accounts banned from Instagram merely because he criticizes Islam, and this is kind of where we're headed. I don't the conservatives or the people on the right who are poo-pooing the idea of censorship and this hegemony exercising its power over independent content makers, they really miss the plot here because look, it it was never going to be restricted to the quote unquote alt right, to white supremacists or white nationalists. Those were just the easiest fruit to pluck. Now, once they're gone, the Overton window shifts so that the people who were in the position of the alt right are now the alt light, and once the alt light is gone, uh, they're going to target any Trump supporters and anyone critical of Islam and mass immigration from the third world. Or they're going to be you're going to be in their hair sights if you have any sort of popularity or appeal on these forums, on these social media outlets. You're going to be targeted. Just a matter of fact. I mean, there are videos by not videos. I'm sorry. There are entire beats at places like the Daily Beast, an imitator, um, which publishes under the false pretense of journalism and investigative reporting. There are entire beats devoted to just tracking down non-prog, non-progressive, non-right think content creators and video makers and writers, and just doxing them and demanding that these outlets shut them down. And this is what it is going to happen in the future. And I think if you continue to kind of have those blinders on, you're going to be in for very rude awakening, because the window of discourse is going to get narrower and narrower. And the thing is, look at it. Look at this. The big picture here. If you can't criticize Islam, what does that mean? You say to yourself, "Oh, well, that just means people like David Wood and Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller and all of these people. Oh, they're just these xenophobic, Islamophobic people, but I don't have anything to worry about." But look at it this way. This means that any sort of ministry, not even just ministry to Muslims, any sort of ministry is fair game. They can take down your video, because if you read the Bible, what does it say? It says to challenge false prophets. So if you're preaching the word of Christ, if you're preaching the gospel, you're by definition preaching against Islam and against other false doctrines. So this basically means any sort of Christian ministry or Christian apologetics is verboten. Think about that. Any video where you preach the gospel is verboten because it's offensive to Muslims. Think of how insane that concept is, but that's a concept that's being reified right now, and companies like YouTube and Google. Well, Google owns YouTube, but Google, Facebook, Twitter, that's what they're saying. So if you think, oh, you can avoid this by not putting out videos critiquing Islam or critiquing Muhammad, that's it's not going to stop there. Just open your eyes and realize we are in the sights of these people who want to suppress dissent. That's all this is about.